guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will be teaching you how to make that very lovely skirt that you see. In this tutorial, I will be using my favorite, a 4.25 millimeter crochet hook. I will also be using Super Saver yarn. This is a weight 4 yarn, and it says that it requires a 5 millimeter, but I'm going to be using a 4.25. This is in the color, let's see, where's the color at? Baby pink. Okay, so the first part of this video, you're just going to measure your waist, and whatever your waist is, you are going to I'm going to show you. So once you have pulled up a slip knot, you're going to chain 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? You are going to go back into that second, this is your first stitch. You're going to go into the second stitch. And you're going to place a single crochet. You're going to work all the way back down until you complete a single crochet for each stitch. So you should have a total of 5 since we chained 6. It's 3, 4, and 5. Chain. Okay. Then you would chain 1, turn your work, and you would go right into that very first stitch and chain up 1. Okay, and you're going to work into every single stitch. Okay, and you're going to repeat this until it is long enough to measure for your waist. For me, that is 27 inches. So I'm going to continue this pattern until I have it long enough to measure my waist. And then I'm going to come back and show you guys what to do to proceed next. Okay guys, so once you came up on your last row that measures for your waist, you're simply going to make sure it stays on the correct side. Go ahead and chain 1, turn your work as if you are beginning your next row, enter into the first stitch, and pull up the other side. Okay, you want to make sure that you stay on the correct side so that it meshes perfectly. And you're going to go into that very first stitch. Just making sure mine is on the correct side. Okay. So you're just going to go into that very first stitch, and you are going to slip stitch by going into both sides. So I'm going to go into this side here, you're also going to, you're going to go into this side, and you're going to make sure you go into the matching stitch on the other side, which is the second stitch on the other side as well, and you are going to slip stitch. So you're going to slip stitch into each of these stitches. Should have a total of 5. 4. I'm on my last one, which is 5. Okay, then you want to check just to make sure you did do it on the right way. Okay, so now what you are going to do is you're going to chain 1, okay, like so, and you're going to work a single crochet. Well, you're going to chain 3. And this one is going to count, we're going to work in double crochets for this skirt. And this one, because you chain 3, that counts for your first double crochet. You're going to go right into the next space. And you're just going to put a double crochet into every single space. Now for my ladies with wider hips, like myself, this first row I am not going to be increasing, but the next row I am going to start increasing, and I am going to show you how to do that once we complete this first row of double crochet. So you're just going into every single stitch that you see with a double crochet all the way around until you get back to your starting point. See that? Okay, I will be back once I am back here. I'm actually going to go through both loops. So counting up 3, we're going to go through both of those loops, and then we're going to slip stitch. And now you've officially slip stitched. You're going to chain up 3, and this chain of 3 will count as your first double crochet. You're going to turn your work, and you're going to go right into the next stitch. So this one counts as a double crochet, so you're going to go right into the next stitch with a double crochet. And for this round you will be increasing. So you're going to actually work your way around, making sure your skirt is centered. You're going to work your way around until about here, and then you are going to do an increase. So for those who may not know, an increase is basically when you put 2 double crochet into 1 stitch. So right now we're putting 1 double crochet into each stitch, but when you do an increase, which will be about here, you're going to do 2 double crochet in 1 stitch. So for those who may not know, I've learned over my years of crocheting that 4 stitches when working with a weight 4 yarn is equivalent to 1 inch. So I'm going to explain this to you guys. So because my waist is actually a 29, I decided to take off 2 inches. That way I can have a bit of a snug and that I can avoid as much as possible adding a drawstring to my skirt. That's just my preference. Now my hips, excuse me, is actually a 42. But I am going to be taking off 4 inches just to have a bit of a snug with my hips because this yarn will stretch. So I don't want my skirt to be baggy. So I'm going to cut down those inches by 4, which leaves me with 38 for hips and 27 for waist. Okay. Now, so when we do the math, we will understand that 38 minus 27 is 11 inches, okay? And that means that we are going to end up doing a total of 22 rows before we have officially completed all of our 11-inch increase. Now, keep in mind, 4 stitches equals 1 inch. So we are going to need to do 4 additional stitches within a round 11 times to yield the desired 38 inches for my hips. So after this increase round that we are about to do, we are going to go back and do a regular round. Now each time you start your round, you are going to turn your work and work in opposite direction each row just to maintain that straight stitching down the middle. So as I was stating, this is your regular row. Then you're going to do an increase row. Then you're going to do a regular row, increase row, regular row, and you're going to keep doing it so far and so far. So at the total of all of my increases until it gets to 38 inches, I would have had done 22 total rows. As long as I am following the regular row, regular row, increase row pattern, okay? So I hope that makes sense to you guys. So all you will be doing, remember your first row of double crochet was no decreasing or no increasing. Your second row of double crochet is going to involve increasing. Remember 4 stitches equals 1 inch. So this is why you're going to do an increase here. You're going to turn your work and do an increase here, and the same amount or the same area in which you do your 2 increases on this side, you're also going to do 2 increases on this side, making it about the same way. I'm going to show you how to do it for this round, and then I'm going to leave you all to go ahead and work your rounds up. Remember, at the start of each round, you are going to turn your work so that we can maintain that linearness with the middle stitching. And like I stated, I am going to come back when I start my increase here. But after that, I'm going to leave here, then I'm going to come back once I have reached row 12. So I'm only on row 2. I'm going to work row 2 with you guys, and then I'm going to leave you guys to go ahead and work until you're round 12. I will be back. Okay guys, we are here at the point where we are going to be performing our increase. So just to show you guys what an increase looks like, I'm going to go into that next stitch with 1 double crochet, and then you're going to go into the same stitch with another double crochet. And that is how you do an increase. So you're going to chain a couple of put a couple of double crochets around, and then you're going to lay your skirt flat like this. You're going to lay your skirt flat, making sure that it is centered. And if you'd like, you can actually tie this to the front of this. That way it's easier to make sure it's always straight, but for me, I prefer to just, kind of eyeball it. I've been doing this for a while, so it's more easier for me. But okay, so we've did our first increase. You're going to increase again about here, and the same area, you know, kind of like where you increased on the back, you're going to do the same to the back, and then about here on this side, you're going to do the similar increase, okay? So I think that's pretty much self-explanatory. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then once I get to the back, I'm going to show you guys how I close up the back again. And then I'm going to leave you guys to go ahead and follow the rules that I get, the instructions that I gave you previously. Okay, I'll be back. Okay guys, we are back, finishing up that row. Okay, we're going to put one more double crochet into this space here. Okay, like so. And you're just going to go, it's no space to, well, you're going to go inside of this area. There's no stitch to enter, but you're just going to go in the upmost part and slip stitch, like so. Then you're going to chain 3, turn your work, like so. You're going to work into the stitch that's right next to it. Okay, you see how it's keeping that straight? And you're going to follow the instructions that I have given you a couple of seconds back. Just rewind the video and I will meet you on row 12. Okay? Okay guys, welcome back to my channel. I am now on row 12. Let's count. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. My row 12 happens to be an increase row. So I'm going to continue to do as I've instructed you before. I'm going to do an increase here and an increase here. Now we are going to start our bobble stitching. We are going to start our bobble stitching on our 12th row of our heart. So after you do your increase, I will come back. So after I do my increase here, I will come back and show you what to do next. Okay, so I am going to begin explaining this part of the project. So the tail that I had in the back, I went ahead and made sure I found the middle stitch, and I just tied it to here just so I can have an idea of where exactly the middle is from front to back. So this part is okay, so I've already did my increase for this side. Now when we begin our bobble stitching, we are going to be doing a heart. So because when you make your skirt, it is going to be a different size than I am, I cannot tell you exactly, oh, you know, the 10th stitch, do a bobble stitch, the 15th stitch, do a bobble stitch. I cannot tell you that because it will differ. But what I can tell you is to use somewhat of a visualization of a heart. So we know that a heart, when it comes to crocheting, is going to look a lot like this. Okay? You see the perfect heart? So when you begin your bobble stitching, you are going to do a bobble stitch about here, paying attention to the drawing here. So your first row or a round of bobble stitching is going to be something similar to this. So we know that you're going to do maybe a bobble stitch and then you're going to skip 2 or 3 stitches and then do your next bobble stitch and skip another 3 stitches and do your next bobble stitch and then skip a ways across, making sure that it's where you start your bobble stitch is similar to where you started over here, and doing the same thing, a bobble stitch, skip 3, a bobble stitch, skip 3, a bobble stitch, and then finishing up your row. And then when you come to your next row, you want to make sure that you are still following your increase regular row, increase regular row pattern. So you're keeping the same increase regular row, increase pattern while also integrating your bobble stitch technique. So after you have completed this row, you will move on to your next row, making sure you turn your work the same exact thing. The thing about bobble stitching is that you can poke them outward or you can poke them inward. So it does not matter that when you do your next bobble stitch that it's going to be poking the other way. Just make sure you poke it back the other way and everything is okay. So I'm not going to talk too much. I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys how that looks for me, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to work through this process with you guys. I do want to say that for my bobbles, I will be switching to a different color pink just to make the heart pop out a bit more, and I will be back. I am now going to begin my first bobble with my color change. I'm going to show you guys how I personally do it. So you have this here. I pull this down and I hold it. I'm going to feed my new color into the hook and pull through just slightly and pull this part tightly. Going to also pull this down, and then I'm going to go right into doing a bobble. So I'm going to yarn over as if I'm doing a double crochet. I'm going to go right into my next space. Okay, and then I'm going to pull up 2 like so. I'm going to yarn over again into the same space, and then I'm going to go through the first 2 loops and leave a loop. I'm going to go in again. I'm going to pull up 2, another loop. I have 4 on my hook so far. I'm going to go into it again, pull up 2. I have 5 loops on my hook so far. Then I'm going to go into it one more time, the same stitch. And now I have a total of 6. And then I'm going to pull through all of them like this. And then I'm going to go, okay, perfect. And then I'm going to drop my 2 hot pink tails and hold them down with my thumb. And then I'm going to prepare for a double crochet and go right into the very next stitch with a double crochet. And then I'm going to pull that tight, very tight. You guys see that? So I'm going to go ahead and skip a couple of rows. Just 1, 2, 3. Just lay it flat. Okay, I'm going to skip 3 rows and I'm going to do another bobble. Okay? Okay guys, I would like to show you where I am so far. So as I instructed you earlier how to do this, you want to do your bobble stitch, do 3 double crochets and color change, bobble stitch, color change again before your next 3. So the way that I am doing it is, as I instructed you earlier, I tied the middle of here to the middle of here, so everything is evenly placed. If I put my crochet hook directly in the middle, it is in the middle. I've already measured it. It splits both sides equally. So I counted 4. You see these little ridges here? So I counted 4 over. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is where I did my last bobble stitch here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and a half is where I did my, about 9.5 to 10 is where I did my first bobble stitch. So equally here, 1, 2, 3, 4 is where I have my bobble stitch here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is where I have my bobble stitch here. So that's how you want to keep things even. As I stated, I am on my increase row, so I'm going to increase like normal, and here and on the other side. Then I'm going to chain turn my work, and then I will meet you when I get on my next row, which is a regular row, in which I will not be increasing or decreasing. Okay guys, so I quickly just want to show you guys a little sketch that I came up with just to better explain the video. So this is my heart sketch. So as you can see on this very bottom row, I have 4 bobbins and 4 bobbins. And if you can see here, I have 4 and 4. Now each bobbin is spaced out by 3. So there's a bobbin, then there's 1, 2, 3 double crochet, then a bobbin, then 1, 2, 3 double crochet, another bobbin, 1, 2, 3 couple, and it just continues, okay? So I am now on my second row, which is my regular row. This row was an increase row. I am now on a regular row. And I have already started my bobbin, but I just want to explain to you guys how I started my bobbin, okay? So, if you can see on this sketch, for my second row, those 3, the first one is on top of the last bobbin of the first row, okay? So, our last bobbin is here. You would go on top, the stitch on top, and you would count 1, 2, 3, and the 4 is a bobbin. 1, 2, 3, the 4 is a bobbin. 1, 2, 3, the 4th is a bobbin. So that's how I got my, this is why I'm starting my bobbin on this part here. And then I'm going to skip 3. I'm going to do, not skip 3, I'm going to do 3 double crochet. And then I'm going to start my next bobbin, and I'm going to follow my little diagram here. Okay? And then I'm going to work until the center, which is about here, by putting 3 bobbins within the center. So that will count as 1. So how I'm going to do the middle is it would count as there's a bobbin. So 1, 2, 3, a bobbin. 1, 2, 3, a bobbin. 1, 2, 3, a bobbin. And then you have your remaining 3 like you had over here. Okay? And then the same thing you do on this side, you're also going to do on this side. Okay guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to explain the progress that I have made. So these little stragglies, we are going to be tying each of these into a knot, and then this is going to be our front side because this is where you see the bubble. So you would just tie these and pull the remaining tail through the back and then cut. So after I am finished with everything, I will do that and you will see that it's smooth. So my heart has cat ears. I thought it would be something pretty to add to my heart because I love cats and I like hearts. But with you, you can just do like a regular heart without the cat ears added. So, as I described before, my waist is a 27. Well, my waist is a 29, but my measurement that I am doing is 27. The first row of double crochet was a regular row. My next row was an increase row, regular row, increase row, regular row. And I continued this pattern. So I am now at 38 inches, which is where I wish to stop. So from this point forward, I will no longer be doing any increases. I will just be doing regular rows in which I go into every single stitch with one double crochet. I will no longer be increasing. So I'm going to count that out for you guys. So that's 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, and 38. So I'm no longer going to be increasing. I have got into the width in which I desire for my hips. So I'm only doing maintenance rows. I will be adding a couple of, I won't say like a tail, but I'm not going to just stop my heart right here, even though it's perfect just like this. I'm going to be just doing one more tail down here. So when I come back around this way, I am going to make sure I do a bobble right between these two on that next row to have like, you know, kind of like a point of my heart. And then from there, I am done with bobbles, so I no longer have to do bobbles. Because this is a mini skirt, it's not going to be very long. It's just going to go from your waist into a little bit under your bum, kind of like a mini skirt as you see with me in the picture. So I hope this tutorial helped you guys a lot. I am going to continue. So I've reached my desired increases, so I'm just going to continue with regular rows. Of course, I'm going to add one more bobble here, and then I'm done with my heart. And then I'm just going to continue regular rows until my desired length. You don't have to make your skirt a mini skirt. If you don't wish to do that, you can make it as long as you'd like to, but this is pretty much the tutorial on this skirt. I am going to come back once I have completely finished up, and I'm going to give you guys a better look of the front and the back, okay? Okay guys, we are back. I have completed the length of my mini skirt, but as I was stating, if you would like your skirt to be longer, then you can make it longer. If you would like it shorter, you can make it shorter. If you would like to convert it into shorts, you can do that as well. So I'm going to show you guys how we're going to handle these little stragglies. So this will be the back, because as you can see by the bubbles pop out on the other side, okay, on that side. So this is the back side. So all you will do is, for each one, you will take it and tie a knot, a tight knot, maybe 2 times, like that, and then you're going to cut it low. And since it's on the back, you don't have to pull anything through, but I'm going to show you guys what you're going to do for the other side. A little bit different that you're going to end up doing for the other side, just to be sure that it all stays in the back. So you can just go through and tie a knot to all of them and then clip them all, and I will be back. Okay guys, so I have did that for the back, and this is still very pretty. You kind of see it a little bit more clear with the heart, and then you see the little cat ears. Okay, so you're gonna flip it over to the correct side now. Alright, so it's on the correct side, the bubble side. And what you're going to be doing for this side is you're going to be pulling those tails through to the back. So carefully, very carefully, you're going to be pulling those tails to the back of the skirt. See how I pulled it to the back? So you're going to go through and pull all of the tails to the back of the skirt, and I will be back. So I am on my last one. I want to show you guys where I insert that hook. So that's the bubble, that's the string. So I insert my hook into the space that's right behind the bubble, and you're just going to pull down into there, okay? So this is my last one. Okay, and if your bubbles look a little deflated right now, it's okay. So once you've pulled all of your tails in the other way, you're going to then flip your skirt back to the opposite side, which is your back side. And then the same thing that you did for the ones on the back side, you're going to do with these. You're just going to tie a double knot. So I will demonstrate to you. Make sure you're not pulling very hard or tying very hard. So go down closely and then do a double knot. And that's it. You're done. Okay? So you're going to go through and do all of them. And when you cut these, you want to leave about 1/4 of an inch. Okay? Okay guys, so I have completed all of that. So now we're going to turn it back over to the correct facing side, and we're going to see how many of our bubbles held up and how many we need to inflate a bit. So for the most part, everything held up perfectly. I am going to go in with my crochet hook underneath the skirt and kind of push up a few of them that I see that maybe went a tiny bit flat. But for the most part, all of the bubbles are good. They held up perfect. Okay. So you guys, this little part up here that we did to ensure that we remained in the center of the skirt can be cut and removed like so. And then you can weave the rest of this inside of the skirt. Okay, so you weave that in. So that's perfect. And then you just have a little tail under here that you can also weave in. And then you can cut a bit. But you guys, this is the skirt. I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Please be sure to give me a subscribe and a like and a thumbs up. I have more tutorials coming to you guys that are really nice and cute. So your skirt is complete. Your mini skirt is complete. You have your perfect, beautiful bubble stitch heart with your cat ears. You can see the bubbles. They're very raised. So this was perfect. See that? They're all raised. Okay? And you can change colors with your bobble stitching. You can do so much, but this was just my way of doing it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please be sure to give me a thumbs up, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.